Hindi lang basta-bastang Chinese ang nagtago sa sinasabing bahay ni Harry Roque. Itong si Sun Liming ay bigating pugante na nasa red notice ng Interpol. Sabi ni Roque, ang may-ari ng bahay ay ang PH2 Corporation, na ang majority shareholder ay Biancham Corporation, kung saan incorporator siya at mga associates niya. Inamin din ni Roque na may bantay siya mismo sa bahay at supervise niya ang nangyayari doon. Kaya nakapagtataka na sa dami ng bahay sa Pilipinas, kay Roque pa talaga napunta ang pugante. Ayon sa PAOK, IT manager si Liming ng Lucky South 99, ang pogo na tinutulungan ni Roque aregluhin ang mga utang sa PAGCOR. It appears this fugitive and Roque run in the same circles. Nakakabahala ang dami ng mga dayuhang kriminal na nasa bansa pa dahil sa pogo. While a ban was already announced, we in the Senate need to craft measures to ensure that this industry never comes back again.
So I wish to ask once more for the record. With all due respect, kayo po ba ay abogado ng Lucky South 99?
Ito ang latest update sa kaso ng mayor ng Bamban Tarlac na si Alice Goo nang di umano'y nasasangkot sa iligal na aktibidad sa ating bansa. Dating presidential spokesperson, Attorney Harry Roque, nagpatira ng pugante at kriminal sa kanyang bahay. Matatandang sinalakay ang nasabing bahay ni Attorney Roque at naaresto ang dalawang Chinese national na umano'y sangkot sa pugo. Isa sa mga naaresto ay si Sun Liming na napag-alamang nasa red notice ng Interpol dahil sa large-scale fraud sa China. Ayon sa PAOK, hindi ordinaryong Chinese ang nagtago sa sinasabing bahay ni Harry Roque sa Tuba, Benguet, kundi isa itong pugante na matagal nang pinaghahanap ng China at ng International Criminal Police Organization o Interpol. Ayon sa pahayag ni Senator Risa Hontiveros, ang nasa kote sa bahay na pagmamay-ari umano ni Harry Roque ay si Sun Liming na bigating pugante na nasa red notice ng Interpol at siya ay hindi basta-bastang Chinese na nagtatago sa kanyang bahay. Ayon sa PAOK, IT manager si Liming ng Lucky South 99, unang sinabi ni Harry Roque na ang may-ari ng bahay ay PH2 Corporation, na ang majority shareholder ay Biancham Corporation, kung saan incorporator siya at mga associates niya. Inamin din ni Roque na may bantay siya mismo sa bahay at supervise niya ang nangyayari doon. Kaya ayon kay Senator Risa Hontiveros, nakapagtataka na sa dami ng bahay sa Pilipinas, kay Roque pa talaga napunta ang pugante. Sa isang statement, sinabi naman ni Roque na nakahanda siyang makipagtulungan sa PAOK, Bureau of Immigration at Chinese Embassy upang mapanagot sa batas ang puganting Chinese. I urge Senator Risa Hontiveros to stop turning the ongoing government probe on illegal pugos or Internet Gaming Licenses or IGL into a political witch hunt of individuals, including myself, who are very close to the Duterte family. Ani Harry Roque. The lawmaker should also cease her malicious insinuations that I am involved in illegal pugos. I would never counsel or abet the activities of personalities and online gaming firms that defy the law and undermine the legal profession. Dagdag pa ni Harry Roque. Samantala, naging mainit ang talakayan sa Kongreso sa isyu ng pugo kung saan nalagay sa hot seat si Attorney Harry Roque sa pagitan ni Congresswoman Attorney Jinky Beatrix Luistro. Sa pandinig, nadulas nga ba si Attorney Harry Roque na abogado siya ng pugo? Napaamin ba ni Congresswoman Jinky Luistro si Roque na siya ay abogado ng pugo? Ating panoorin ang buong video.
Ma'am, you are now recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. With all due respect to Attorney Harry Roque, I always yield to your legal expertise. However, Attorney Roque, this is one of the occasions when my knowledge in law became gray. So I wish to ask once more for the record. With all due respect, kayo po ba ay abogado ng Lucky South 99?
Hindi po, wala po akong attorney-client relationship sa kahit sino na shareholder or officer ng Lucky Star.
From that
Lucky South.
answer of Attorney Roque, Mr. Chair, I wish to share to the committee the case of Eusebio Sison versus Attorney Lourdes Dumlao. This is AC number 11959, April 28, 2021. If I may quote, a lawyer-client relationship is established when lawyers consistently manifest to a person consulting them that they would provide legal representation or assistance, regardless of the close ties between the parties or the lack of written contract or the non-payment of legal fees. It is very clear, Mr. Chair, that from the definition of a lawyer-client relationship, kahit walang kontrata, kahit walang payment of legal fees, the moment the client starts seeking advice and the lawyer starts giving advice, a client-attorney relationship is created. Can we be enlightened on this, Mr. Chair, from Attorney Roque?
Attorney Roque, you are now recognized.
Mr. Chair, tama po yun. Ang problema, wala pong kahit anong konsulta na nangyari sa panig ko at sa kahit kanino sa panig po ng Lucky South. Kaya miski wala pong bayad, wala pong kontrata, wala rin po kaming komunikasyon. Dahil ang komunikasyon ko po, lahat po yan ay kikasiong lamang.
I understand, Mr. Chair, that a statement of Attorney Roque, he was never consulted by Lucky South 99. But he has been repeating a while ago that Cassandra Leong is the representative of Lucky South 99. Is it not that the consultations made by Representative Ong with Attorney Roque, the consultations as well that was made by Lucky South 99 with Attorney Roque, Mr. Chair?
Mr. Chair, gaya na aking sinabi po kanina, ang aking attorney-client relationship ay kay Cassandra Ong at kay Whirlwind. Dahil sila po ay umakto bilang ahente ng Lucky South, pero hindi ko po naging kliyente ang Lucky South. Para po siguro malinaw, it is an instance where both Whirlwind and Lucky South will benefit kung magtutuloy ang negosyo ng Lucky South. Kasi kung wala naman po Lucky South, useless yung pinatayong premises ng Whirlwind. At kung wala naman ng Whirlwind, wala ring uupahan ang Lucky South. Pero pagdating po sa attorney-client relationship, dapat meron man lang komunikasyon sa panig ng abogado at ng kliyente whether or not there is a written agreement, whether or not there is bayad. Pero wala po talagang ganon dahil limited lang ako kay Cassie Ong.
Mr. Chair, I just wish to remind our resource speaker that I think there were 3 members of the committee who have been delving on this question, and repeatedly, Attorney Roque stated that he is lawyering for Cassandra Ong. Cassandra Ong is the representative of Lucky South 99. And it is really hard to conceive how he can separate himself from Lucky South 99 if his client is representing no less than Lucky South 99. Lucky South is not a natural person. It is a juridical person. The only way to talk with a lawyer is through a representative, and that is Cassandra Ong. If I may add, Mr. Chair, under Section 3 of Canon 3, lawyer-client relationship. A lawyer-client relationship, yes, Attorney Roque is correct, the highest fiduciary character. As a trust relation, it is essential that the engagement is founded on the confidence reposed by the client on the lawyer. Therefore, a lawyer-client relationship shall arise when the client consciously, voluntarily, and in good faith vest a lawyer with a client's confidence for the purpose of rendering legal services such as providing legal advice, representation, and the lawyer, whether expressly or impliedly, agrees to render such services. There are two elements, Mr. Chair. The first element is that the client solicits advice and service of the lawyer. And the second element, the lawyer renders service and advice to the client. I think in the given situation, both were fulfilled. There is Cassandra Ong, or there was Cassandra Ong, representing the juridical person Lucky South 99, who solicited the advice, the service of Attorney Harry Roque. And Attorney Harry Roque physically accompanied Cassandra Ong to PAGCOR, a manifestation of his act of rendering service and advice to his client. I humbly submit, Mr. Chair, that I think there are sufficient legal provisions to establish that a lawyer-client relationship was indeed created with Lucky South 99, Mr. Chair.
You want to reply on that, former Secretary Roque?
Mr. Chair, I can only say that as a lawyer, I have a different opinion. I acknowledge that there is lawyer-client relationship between me and Cassie Ong as representative of Whirlwind, who in turn acted as agent for Lucky South. But that does not mean that Lucky South gave me their trust and confidence to represent me, and I would repeat it. Kung kukunin po nila ako to quash the raid on their property, I will readily accept it. Pero yun nga po, hindi nila gagawin yun. Dahil sa tingin nila, ang kritiko ng gobyerno hindi magpapanalo ng kaso sa kanila, magpapalala pa. Yun lang po ang sitwasyon talaga.
Mr. Chair, earlier, Attorney Roque likewise stated that Whirlwind is the agent of Lucky South. Does our resource speaker confirm this, Mr. Chair?
Yes po.
And can agency be implied?
Well, it can be implied, but an agency once delegated cannot be further delegated. Yun po ang rule.
Can it be done verbally?
Well, agency is written or verbal. Pero ang sinasabi ko nga po, yung delegated authority to Cassie Ong cannot be delegated any further. Ang pwede lang po mag-delegate talaga ay yung principal.
And what therefore is your concrete basis why you reached the conclusion that Whirlwind is an agent of Lucky South 99?
Well, una-una, Mr. Chair, because that is how Whirlwind explained it to me. And under the circumstance na sila nagpapaupa ng property nila at may interest sila na magpatuloy ang negosyo ng Lucky South, nakita ko naman po kung ano interest din ng Whirlwind. Ang interest ng Whirlwind ay magpatuloy po ang negosyo nung nag-uupa sa kanila, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Chair, I want to go to the basic. Agency is a contract where there are two parties involved, the agent and the principal. It is hard to conceive, Mr. Chair, that Attorney Roque will be relying on the representation only of Whirlwind without an active participation of the other party who is supposed to be the principal, the Lucky South 99. And even assuming that indeed Whirlwind is an agent of Lucky South, I hope we are reminded as well by the principle that the act of the agent is the act of the principal, and the liability of the agent is the liability of the principal. Similar to attorney-client relationship, there is a fiduciary relationship that is existing between the principal and the client. So, I wish to conclude, Mr. Chair, that Attorney Roque's representation did not cover only the Whirlwind, but extends even to Lucky South, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Thank you so much. Tama-tama yung time mo. Dahil I was about to... Hindi pa ba? I was about to remind you that your time is up. So, there is an extension.
Yes,
Another
Mr. Chair.
extension for you, Congresswoman Luis Tro. Go
Yes,
ahead.
Mr. Chair. I just wish to confirm from the committee, Mr. Chair, if the Bureau of Immigration, the DOLE, and the BIR complied already with our request for submission of records of foreign nationals who were issued working visa, employment certificate, and registration as income taxpayer. That is for BIR. May we hear from them, Mr. Chair?
Yes, BIR complied with all the documents. We have the documents here. I think we have sent it through the Viber group that we created. And at the same time, the immigration also, they have submitted the documents. Unfortunately, ang DOLE, di po sila nag-submit. And we did not invite the DOLE, particularly because we have mentioned and manifested in the last hearing that we are focusing on the criminal activities pertaining to the body of the motu proprio. But we will be asking also, but we ask the DOLE to submit all the documents. So, Comsec, can you again remind the DOLE to submit all the documents that being asked by Congresswoman Luistro?
And may I request, Mr. Chair, also our committee to check on the consistency of the records of these three agencies upon submission?
Yes, check niyo ba yung accuracy? Okay, we will be asking the Comsec to check the accuracy of all these documents. And as a matter of fact, all the documents are here at the back of of the chair. So if you wanted to see the documents and check it for yourself, you can do so. Go ahead, Congresswoman Luistro.
There's a letter here coming from Mayor Kapil. May sinasabi po siya ditong sinisiraan daw siya ni Pyra Lucas, Toto Kausing. Allegedly, it is being alleged na mayroon siyang pag-aaring 5 milyon. Nakakatanggap siya ng 5 milyong piso buwan-buwan. Mayroon siyang mga luxurious cars and mansions, which he is denying through this letter. I became curious, Mr. Chair, and may I ask pa, kayo po ba ang tamang agency para mag-initiate ng lifestyle check to check on the veracity of the allegations contained on the letter of Mayor Kapil?
Hindi po, ma'am. May DILG po para tumingin po sa kaso.
Mr. Chair?
Yes,
may I know
Luistro.
if we have information whether the DILG has initiated already a lifestyle check on Mayor Kapil in the face of the allegations contained in his own letter?
Well, in the last hearing, we have asked Mayor Kapil if he's willing to undergo a lifestyle check. And he said yes. And we tasked the proper agencies, including DILG and AMLAC, to start the process of that lifestyle check. So maybe we can ask, wala tayong DILG. I think, andyan si ASEC. ASEC, Racho pala. Racho, can you comment
good
on
afternoon,
the...
Mr. Chair, and good afternoon to the members of the
Can you
committee.
comment on the query of Congresswoman
Sir,
Luistro?
may I refer you to the head of the task force na binuo po ng DILG, si Atty. Landay po.
I will wait. So you have created a task force?
Yes, sir. To look on this matter, sir. Nasa kanya po yung details. She's
Sige.
here now, sir.
What's the name of the person?
Atty. Alday po.
Attorney?
Alday po.
Okay.
Alday.
Ma'am,
Nandito
dito
po
kayo
siya.
sit here. Oh yan, dyan na lang. Palit na lang kayo. Babae pala. Lalaki pala. Please state your name and your position, please.
Magandang hapon po, Honorable Chair, Honorable members of the committee, and our resource speakers here today. I am Attorney Alday from the Department of the Interior and Local Government. I am the head of the task force for Porac Tarlac, Porac Pampanga, Your Honor. I also represented the investigation for the Bamban Tarlac for Mayor Alice Guo, Your Honor.
There's a query by Congresswoman Luistro if you have started and initiated the lifestyle check of Mayor Kapil because and also Mayor kay Alice Go naman established na po yung 29 accounts niya and the 29 billion transactions, bank transactions that we have seen, as a matter of fact galing yun sa Court of Appeals na naipile na po ng AMLAC. So with regard to that query kay Mayor Kapil, have you started it?
Yeah, Honor, Honorable Chair, as for the lifestyle check, Your Honor, no, ang finocus lang po ng DILG sa aming investigasyon, Your Honor, is if ever ang munisipyo po ng Porac, Tarlac ay nakapag-release ng mga permits na may kulang. Kung kunyari po, kung sila po ay nag-release ng business permit and may mga pagkukulang po sa dokumento na isubmit ang mga POGO na nasa kanilang lugar, doon po magkakaroon po sila ng mga administrative liabilities. Ang aming investigasyon po nag-focus lang po sa administrative liabilities, hindi po sa lifestyle check, Your Honor.
So hindi kayo nag-initiate ng lifestyle check kay Mayor Kapil?
Your Honor,
wherein in the last hearing, he manifested that he's willing to sign any waiver for the opening of his accounts and his properties, where it was not considered by the task force that you created, that he manifested here in this hearing that he was willing to open all of his accounts.
As Your Honor,
kasi baka mamaya may makita kayo doon leading to something. Hindi niyo ba ginawa yun?
Your Honor, we will try to consider it. Ipaparating ko po ito sa mga pinuno po ng aming departamento. Ngunit sa kasalukuyan po, ang pinokus lang po ng aming task force ay ang magiging mga posibleng administrative liability ng ating butihing mayor mula sa Porac, Pampanga po man, Your Honor.
Sige, kasi nga siya na nagsalita mismo that is willing to open all his bank accounts and his property. So try to maximize the willingness of the person to go to undergo so many investigations. So isama niyo po 'yon, please.
Sige po,
DILG.
Your Honor. We
Sige,
will consider it po.
Luis, now you have
Mr.
the
Chair,
floor again.
For us to have a foundation of the information on this allegation, may I respectfully move, Mr. Chair, that we invite Pyra Lucas and Toto Kausing to give us initial information, Mr. Chair, about the allegations which were mentioned by no less than Mayor Kapil in his own letter.
So there's a motion to invite sino?
Pyra Lucas and Toto Kausing.
Pyra is a woman?
Yes.
Pyra Luca.
I suppose so, Mr. Chair.
Pyra Luca.
Lucas.
So, and also
Toto Kausing.
Mr. Toto Kausing.
The names are mentioned in the letter of Mayor Kapil, Mr. Chair.
So there's a motion to invite those two personalities. Is there a second motion? There's a second motion. Is there any objection? Hearing none, the said motion is now approved. Go ahead.
Last question, Mr. Chair, is for PEZA and PAGCOR. Before the pronouncement of the President about the total ban of all POGO operations in the Philippines, may I ask, what really is the policy? Who is or which agency has the issuing authority to POGO licensees? PEZA first.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, and to the honorable members of this committee. I am Attorney Jenny Romero, the head of the legal department of PEZA. And in behalf of our Director General, Tereso Panga, we wish to really thank the committee for inviting us because this will be the forum, one of the fora probably, where we could clarify and correct the pervading information that PEZA registers Philippine offshore gaming operators or POGOs. An information it appears to be believed, shared, and even common to the public, other government agencies, and various offices. Well, with due respect to our beloved USEC for PAOK, USEC Gilbert Cruz, the most recent of which, sir, is during the interview of PAOK spokesperson, Dr. Wilson Casio, where he mentioned that PEZA allowed these POGOs and PEZA provided the licenses to these POGO operators. In this representation, we wish to clarify that those information or this statement even is erroneous, Your Honors. With the kind indulgence of the Honorable Chairpersons, and the Honorable members of this committee, please allow us to provide accurate information regarding PEZA in relation to POGOs. PEZA's mandate under its charter, Republic Act 7916.
Mr. Chair, can we direct our resource speaker to just answer the question?
Yeah.
Whether
Okay.
PEZA has authority to issue license to POGOs.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair. PEZA is not mandated. It has no authority at all under its charter 7916, RA 7916, to issue licenses to POGOs. In fact, it has been the long-standing policy of PEZA not to register online gaming, gambling, and although we have IT companies, these IT companies registered with PEZA are prohibited from engaging in online gaming, gambling, or any ancillary gaming activities. In fact, the registration agreement with PEZA prohibits them from doing so, Your Honors. So
Mr.
there
Chair,
is
may
no-
I know if the resource speaker is aware of RA 11590, Section 22?
Please reply.
Um,
Are you aware?
This
I
is
am-
the definition of offshore gaming licensee.
I am not aware of the specific provision, Madam Chair, but if it's okay that it could be read to me, then I would be very
Mr. Chair,
happy,
I
Your
wish
Honor.
to read the definition of offshore gaming licensee as provided in RA 11590, Section 22. It refers to the offshore gaming operator, whether organized abroad or in the Philippines, duly licensed and authorized through a gaming license by the Philippine Amusement Gaming Corporation or any special economic zone authority or tourism zone authority or free port authority to conduct offshore gaming operations, including the acceptance of bets from offshore customers as provided for in their respective charters. In other words, Mr. Chair, it is recognized in this provision that apart from PAGCOR, there are 3 other establishments which were given the authority to issue license. One is a Special Economic Zone Authority, second is Tourism Zone Authority, and third is Freeport Authority. Mr. Chair, can we be enlightened by PEZA?
Okay. Madam Chair, the PEZA has its own PEZA charter that is under RA 7916 as amended. And in the provisions of the charter, we don't have any mandate or authority to issue licensing or even authority for these gaming operators, Your Honor.
So
In
there's
fact,
no provision in your charter.
none, Your Honor. In fact, as I
Do,
said,
do you have a copy of your charter right now? Can you kindly give it to us? Kasi, well, it is in conflict with the...
I have a copy of our charter here, Your Honor.
kindly give it to us right now.
Yes, sir.
Because what the good Congresswoman is mentioning, it was mentioned on the provision of the different economic zones, including yours. Pero sa inyo, wala naman, no?
Wala naman, Your Honor. In fact, as I said, it has been a long-standing policy of PEZA not to register gaming operations because we recognize the authority of the PAGCOR to do that.
Okay. Congresswoman Luistro, here, you try to check the charter of the PEZA. Yes.
May we confirm from PEZA if they have the power to regulate this Special Economic Zone Authority, Tourism Zone Authority, and Freeport Authority?
Please
Does
reply.
PEZA have
Yes,
the power
sir.
to regulate?
Please reply.
Mr.
PEZA.
Chair, yes, there is this misconception that all economic zones are under the supervision of PEZA. It is not true. PEZA is a separate and an independent authority which is separate from the other investment promotion agencies. We call them IPAs. These are the likes of BCDA, SBMA, AFAB, APECO, CESA. What else? They
CESA.
have their own. They have their
CESA.
own charters. They are created under a separate law, and they are distinct from PEZA, and they are outside the supervision of PEZA, Your Honor.
And
So-
Mr. Chair, I understand that they have no power to regulate, as mentioned, and it appears that this Economic Zone Authority have autonomy once they are given their own charter. But can you please explain, PEZA? There is a provision here, notwithstanding any law to the contrary, no offshore gaming license shall hereinafter be issued by the Aurora Pacific Economic Zone and Freeport Authority. Why all of a sudden this was singled out?
Madam Chair, I'm sorry, but I did not get the drift of the question. But as I said a while ago, PEZA is a different authority from the other investment promotion agencies. One of them is Cavite Economic Zone, APECO or Aurora, SBMA, BCDA. They are different from us, Your Honor.
I understand,
They have their
Mr. Chair,
own-
but I wish to invite the attention of our resource speaker to RA 11590, Section 22. This is the definition of offshore gaming licensee. Meron pong portion dito after that definition, notwithstanding any law to the contrary, no offshore gaming license shall hereinafter be issued by Aurora Pacific Economic Zone and Freeport Authority.
That will be your last question, Congresswoman Luistra.
Yes, Mr. Chair. Curious lang po ako. While we recognize the authority of the other economic zones authority, bakit pagdating po dito sa Aurora Pacific Economic Zone, biglang na-single out siya at bawal siyang mag-issue ng license?
Your Honor, I don't think that could be answered by PEZA because that is not a law being administered by PEZA. As I said, APECO is a different authority. It has its own charter, Your Honor, and they are not under our supervision or authority.
Do we have any resource speaker who can enlighten us on this, Mr. Chair? Nagtataka lang po ako kung bakit dito mismo sa substantive law, biglang na-single out itong isang economic zone authority that they're being prohibited from issuing an offshore gaming license.
That's it? Okay, so the next interpellator will be Congressman Chairman Akop. Sir, you are recognized.
Mr. Chair,
So,
I am asking if there's any resource speaker who can enlighten us on
I'm
this.
sorry, I wasn't able to hear that because Congressman Kit Flores is trying to whisper a lot of things in my ear. Okay, so who want to answer the query of Congresswoman Luistro?
Maybe the PAGCOR is aware?
Mr. Chair, I think PAGCOR could be one.
PAGCOR. And I would like to remind the members that we have invited as well our former PAGCOR, Andrea Domingo, Mr. Dennis Cunanan, PSA, and LRA. Yun na lang mga hindi natin natatanong. Anyway,
So,
so...
Chair, since no question has been propounded already to Commissioner Domingo, perhaps let us hear from her. Maybe she can enlighten us on this kung bakit na-single out yung Aurora.
Ano ba yan? Issuance ba yan ng PAGCOR?
Yes.
As we can
Issuance of offshore gaming license.
Issuance of...
Offshore gaming license. POGO license.
Oh, di sa PAGCOR yan. And that was year what?
I suppose that this is during the time of the previous administration, Mr. Chair.
Oh, so sakto-sakto si former PAGCOR Chairman Andrea Domingo. Ma'am, you are now recognized. Thank you so much.
Chairman, pwede ko pong itanong kung kasama po ba ito nung sinasabi niyong Republic Act?
Can you please help the former chairman to put the mic much closer,
11590.
please?
Mr. Chair, it's RA 11590.
Kung pong batas yan ay hindi po alam ng PAGCOR, siguro po mas mabuti para masagot natin yung katanungan ng ating congresswoman, tumingin po dun sa minutes ng meeting ng mga deliberations para po malaman kung bakit yung nag-enact ng law ay hindi isinama ang APECO dun sa pwedeng mag-issue ng licenses. Hindi ko po kasi alam yan at ang PAGCOR po talaga pong nire-recognize yung power authority of the Freeport at saka mga eco zones na nandun sa kanilang charter na pwede silang mag-issue pero nga ho dinefine ng Executive Order 13 na dun lang sa jurisdictional area nila po.
Maybe the good agency that can answer on this query of Congresswoman Luistro is the BIR. Kasi parang taxation to di ba? Right? Correct. Congressman Akop, you want to say something? Because amendment ng Yes, National Internal Revenue Code of 1997.
Mr. Chair, for the information of the committee, this is the act taxing POGOs. RA 11590.
So the best personalities who can answer this
is PAGCOR.
Hindi, no.
DIR.
The one who drafted and crafted the law. And that is the tayo to. House of Representatives. And I think Chairman Domingo is right that we need to check the minutes who is sponsored and putting in the provision that word, that statement, no, particularly on that Aurora,
Mr. Chair,
Aurora something, yeah. So basically, it was drafted, crafted by the House of Representatives and the House and the Senate of the Philippines. So basically, doon natin makikita sa minutes.
Mr. Chair, from the BIR.
Yes, the Chair would like to acknowledge the presence of Congressman Ramon Rodrigo Gutierrez and Congressman Chino Almario. So, Attorney Tibayan, you wanted to say something?
Mr. Chair,
and
from
Congressman
the BIR.
Franz Pumaren.
Mr. Chair, if I remember correctly, during the deliberations before.
Go ahead. You're recognized. Go ahead. We're listening.
Because I was also part of the ones helping nung time na dinideliberate siya sa Senate. I think the law was basically patterned from PAGCOR's setup. So, and then I think at the time, just different like PEZA, CEZA, they were involved because they had they had licensees at the time. But I think that's why APECO was not involved kasi parang lumalabas wala ata silang licensee. So they did not ask to be included yata, Mr. Chair, if I remember correctly.
You want to ask that directly, Congressman Barbers?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Just
Sige.
a short question in relation to your question. Tanong ko lang kung kasi wala sa charter ng APECO that they will allow operations of online gaming, correct? Who's that gentleman who was answering earlier?
Okay, si attorney from BIR, but before I recognize you again, I would like to acknowledge the presence of the beautiful Congresswoman from PBA Party List, Margarita Ignacia Nograles. Migs, okay, go ahead, sir. Attorney, you can reply, please.
As to the charter, Mr. Chair, I'm not privy po. I'm not aware po. But I just remember at the time, APECO did not have licensees, kaya hindi lang sila sinama during the deliberation sa Senate po.
But there was a POGO operation in APECO. Oh. Kaya nga,
No.
Who issued that license to that POGO?
Congressman, I wanted to be clarified as well. So, medyo hindi ko masyado naintindihan yun. So, it was included in that Republic Act, but prior to that, there was an operation. There was an operation.
That is the logical conclusion, Mr. Chair.
So,
the reason why it was prohibited in 11590.
Yes, correct.
Ibig sabihin, there was an operation, kaya prohibit dun sa 11590. I understand that the law should not be discriminatory. Bakit biglang in-isolate, discriminate yung isang yun?
I think the best thing for us to do is try to find out the minutes of that discussion because the BIR himself is not sure, no, what really transpired during the deliberation. So basically, we cannot answer that right now. So let us wait for a little bit longer. Maybe a week from now, we'll be asking and tasking the COMSEC to find out the minutes of that deliberation of that Republic Act, what? 11590 for us to find out sino yung naglagay doon sa provision na yun. Yes, I think it is incumbent upon the resource speaker to tell us the amount of the information that he's going to reveal to us if it entails our national security. Otherwise, kung wala naman siyang in relation to the security of this country, then I think the members should not allow it. Di ba? And let him lie, and lie.
Yes. And we will cite him in contempt.
Yes.
To be jailed at the Quezon City Jail, Mr. Chairman.
Kasi dito pa lamang po sa dokumento dito pa lamang sa dokumento that you have executed and submitted to PAGCOR, which is a government agency, you lied. It was clearly stated on the PDS that you lied. At any rate, naubusan natin oras ni Congressman Barber, so we will be proceeding to the next interpellator, who happens to be Congressman Barbers, and then after that, I will be the last to interpolate.
Chairman?
Yes.
Do you know your ruling?
Wala pa, hindi pa.
My issue is concerned.
Oh yes. What's the concern? If what's the basis for the executive session? So,
Chairman.
let me wait, Congressman Paduano. The chairman is still speaking. So, I will be allowing Dennis Cunanan to explain the amount or the matter that he will be going to discuss with the members of these two committees. You are in the liberty of saying something. Go ahead.
Your Honors, even earlier on, what I was supposed to mention is we have a very limited engagement with these companies. And then our name has been dragged in this investigation when we were
Mr. Chair, point of order.
What's the point of order of Congressman Acop?
The resource person is not answering the question propounded by the chair. Bakit siya humihingi ng executive session? Ano ang dahilan? Because under our rules, there are only reasons stated therein bakit natin i-grant yung executive session. Yun po ang rules natin eh.
Okay.
Now, does it satisfy our rule na pwede natin grantan siya ng executive session? Would it affect national security in the first place?
Yes. The premise of Congressman Acop, initially, it was offered to you to have an executive session. And you replied by answering that you wanted to have an executive session. For that matter, what is your reason for us to hear the narrative that you wanted to tell us on the executive session? What was it? Does it entails national security?
Your Honors, it was mentioned and I said I'm okay with it.
So with your own, that's the reason why the good congressman from Antipolo was asking. So kung sumagot ka ng opo, gusto ko rin pong mag-executive session, there must be a reason why you wanted to be a part of that executive session. Di ba?
Yes, Your Honor. And
so ano nga?
If there are any other things that as being asked along the way, Your Honors, I can articulate some information. But these are nothing that I'm not disclosing, Your Honor. We're disclosing whatever information we have and whatever information we know.
Yes, Congressman Paduano.
Anyway, Mr. Chairman, I was the one who asked Mr. Dennis Cunanan about an executive session. But of course, Mr. Theoretically, no, the question of Pogo now and this investigation entails national security. Kasi alam naman natin lahat eh. Hindi na tayo, di ba? Alam na natin may problema to. This entails national security. But, of course, giving the privilege for Mr. Cunanan to have an executive session, titingnan na, evaluate natin kung indeed. Di ba? Pag upo natin doon na wala naman sila masabi, o better balik tayo dito. Tanungin natin siya, pag balik siya, siya natin in contempt. Ganun lang po. Kasi, as far as I understand, the investigation with regards to Pogo all over the country entails is a question of national security now. And as a chairman of the Public Order and Safety, alam ko na alam to ni chairman that Pogo investigation and Pogo problem in this country is a question of national security as of now. Thank you, Mr.
Anyway,
Chairman.
siguro...
Mr. Chair, may I know if he has a lawyer? May I know if you have a lawyer?
You have a lawyer, Mr. Dennis Cunanan?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, you have a lawyer with you. So siguro mamaya after the presentation of my interconnection matrix, no, I'll be presenting something with regards to the three committees: committee on dangerous drugs, and committee on public accounts, and the committee on public order. So before I present my matrix, I'll be asking Congressman Barbers to interpolate. So you now have the floor.
Maraming salamat.
Before you proceed, the chair would like to acknowledge the presence of our former colleague, the president of the League of the Municipalities of the Philippines, Congressman, Mayor, Governor Bernos. Siguro mamaya we'll ask him to say something. But for the meantime, we'll be asking Congressman Barbers to start his interpellation.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Chair, I'm glad that you already recognize me because after my 9th trip to the comfort room, I've almost emptied my gallbladder without, and most of the questions were already raised by our colleagues. But ako lang, dadagdagan ko lang ng, gusto ko lang matanong si Mr. Dennis Cunanan. Mr. Dennis Cunanan?
Yes, sir.
Meron kayong engagement with Lucky South 99?
Yes, Your Honor. On a contractual basis. Based on output.
Can you expound on a contract?
On an output basis, Your Honor.
Okay, so your company is a consultancy firm.
But they engage me, Your Honors, personally, not the company.
So not the company.
Yes, Your Honor.
So meaning, meron kang what consultations do they ask from you? Anong binibigay mo na
what happened, Your Honors? What happened, Your Honors, is if they have documents that they need to comply, na kailangan lang basahin at hindi lang maintindihan, tinatanong po nila sa amin. So kung
sa amin o sa iyo?
Sa akin, sir. Tinatanong nila sa akin. Tapos, kung maintindihan na nila, then ginagawa nila, sir. Kung meron na po sila nakagawa, tama ba to? Ito pa yung tama naming isasubmit. I just want to clarify on the PDS, Your Honors. It was an oversight on my part, yung PDS, because I was not the original authorized representative. It was Han Gao. But apparently, when she left and they needed to complete already the document and submit it to, meron man din sila sir tao eh. Hindi naman po ako lang yung nakalagay doon. Meron din silang tao. So yung tao nila, kailangan tumakbo ng Manila para dalhin yun. Pinapirma ho nila sa akin yung document and then they submitted it. Kaya it was really an oversight on my part yung aspect na yun. And later,
Dennis, Mr. Cunanan, sorry, no. Yeah, I've seen the PDS that you've submitted, no. So hindi naman doon yung direksyon ng tanong ko eh.
Yes, sir.
Ang tanong ko kasi, consultant kanila.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So consultant ba sa tax? Consultant ba sa, let's say, link with the LGUs, the national government? Anong klaseng consultancy?
Ginawa nila sir akong communications consultant nila para sa kanilang pag-apply doon sa license. Yun lang
so, they don't have a lawyer?
Meron sila sir lawyer. Yung binanggit nga ako kanina, yung Attorney Medina.
So, hindi yung lawyer ang gumagawa nun para sa kanila or the law firm?
Yun ang most likely sir, yung mga ibang compliance, yun ang gumagawa. Pero hindi yun ang nagdadala sa Manila.
Sige. What exactly is your what exactly is the service you provide for Lucky South? Yung specific?
Liaison, basically, sir.
So, liaison?
Liaison.
And their lawyers cannot do that for them?
Hindi, sir. Kasi iba daw yung task nila eh. We actually were telling them, might as well, pagawa nyo na sa mga abogado nyo yan o sa mga tao nyo yan.
Okay. So, kanina I heard that you denied that you received $500,000. And the reason why Miss Cassandra Leong went to PAGCOR is because apparently she was being charged for non-payment of what kind of fees?
Regulatory fees.
Oh, the regulatory fees. Yun ang sinabi niya eh. Kaya siya nagpunta doon. Otherwise, hindi siya pupunta doon. And she was escorted and probably accompanied by Attorney Harry Roque. So, sinabi mo kanina, wala ka natanggap. Yung bang pagbabayad ng Lucky South 99 ng regulatory fees to PAGCOR, hindi ba kasama yun sa services that you provide?
If there are instances, Your Honors, that they cannot do it, they ask us to help them. Pero
So,
hindi kami...
Ask us or ask
Ask
you?
me. They ask me to help them.
So how many times have you done that for them?
A few number of times, Your Honor.
Just be specific. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many?
Maybe around 5 or
5
10.
times.
O 5
So
or 10.
regulatory
5 to
fees
10,
ito
yes,
ng
yes.
PAGCOR. Hindi po ba, correct me if I'm wrong, nagbabayad ka ng regulatory fees sa PAGCOR, meaning nag-ooperate ka. Is that correct? Is that a correct assumption, attorney?
Not necessarily, sir. As long as you have a license and there's no approval for you to stop paying the regulatory fees, monthly pa din po charge po yung...
So kahit walang operation?
Yes, sir.
So parang hindi kaya, kahit wala akong kinikita, magbabayad ako regulatory fees?
Pwede po naman kayong sumulat sa board of directors kung talaga pong may valid reason kayo for the stoppage or non-operations. Pero kung wala po kayong board approval na tumigil sa pagbabayad ng regulatory fees, buwan-buwan pa din po yun na tumutuloy.
Okay. Thank you for that information. So, Mr. Cunanan, sinabi mo mga 5 times, ano?
Around that much. 5 to 10.
Can you please
It varies,
provide an information to this committee more or less dun sa 5 times na yun, magkanong naibayad mo in behalf of the Lucky South 99?
Hindi ho ako mismo, Your Honor. Sina-assist ko lang yung mga tao nila. Kasi nagbabayad sila diretso sa land bank.
Okay.
Nagbabayad.
And would you have any idea how much would that be?
Usually, sir, yung minimum guaranteed fee that PAGCOR is requiring, which is the 150,000. And then I think the reason why they are having some issues is later on when the new administration came in, they started charging additional 50,000 administrative fees. So these were the accumulation of things I think that they were addressing. And if I'm not mistaken, Your Honors, even while they were talking with PAGCOR at that time, they were already settling a portion of that arrears. And then later on, they were able to fully pay all those arrears. So, Your Honors, if I was used as an excuse at that time, I really don't know. I really don't understand. Because later on, Your Honors, just to prove a point, later on, by September and October of that year, 2023, when they were already submitting their application for renewal, they even sent to me their documents for review if it's already okay for them to submit it already. So if I did something wrong to them, Your Honors, ahead of time, ahead of that moment, I don't think they will still come back to me and ask me to check on their document.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Cunanan. Now, I'd like to ask, Mr. Chair, former PAGCOR Chair Andrea Domingo. Ma'am, alam ko, pagod na kayo kakasagot.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. This is very short. Tanong ko lang ho. Kasi earlier, yung opening statement ng CEO ng CESA boldly stated that PAGCOR violated its own charter. Do you agree?
I cannot agree, Your Honor.
I knew that you were going to answer that. Do you have that answer, Madam? So, dito ho kasi ang premise po nila is that you were issuing licenses to an offshore gaming operations. Tama po ba?
Opo.
Now, because you are issuing offshore gaming license or license to offshore gaming operations, that is already beyond the charter of PAGCOR. Is that correct?
Hindi po. Pwede ko pong i-explain. Nagsimula po ito nung i-amend yung PD 18... Dali lang, hindi ko na matandaan. Yung PD 1869 na sinayna ni former President Marcos noong 1978. During the amendment po from 2004 to 2007, nagkaroon po ng interpellation na ang record po ito ay nasa December 4, 2004, December 16, 2004 records ng Congress. Nagtanong po doon si Representative Jaworski dun sa sponsor na si Representative Mig Zubiri kung ang online gaming ay kasama sa isasakupan ng PAGCOR. Ang sabi po ni Representative Zubiri, oo. Tapos po, nag-introduce po ng amendment si Congressman Jaworski na iksama sa exclusion portion ng batas na yon ng RA na natawag na ngayon na RA 9487. Pero po, nung pong matapos na po yung RA 9487 ay hindi po isinama sa exclusion. Dito po, nuto pong pinakahuli pong ruling ng Supreme Court noong April 2023 nang may naghabla. Ito po, Evangelista, I'm sorry po. Ito po yung, pasensya na po kayo kasi hindi ko memorize lahat eh. Ito po yung kasi sabi po nitong si Velas Evangelista na walang authority ang PAGCOR to operate. Pero po ang sabi nung pong yung relevant section po nung ruling nung Evangelista versus PAGCOR GR 2282 issued in April 2023, ang sabi po, the Supreme Court recognized that the RR Pogo is a quasi-legislative function of the PAGCOR pursuant to Section 8 of 1869, which gives it authority to promulgate rules and regulations relevant to the registration of persons engaged in gambling. To wit, ito pong sabi, yung Section 8 po ay registration. All persons primarily engaged in gambling, together with their allied business with contract or franchise from the corporation, the registry shall register and affiliate their businesses with the corporation. The corporation shall issue the corresponding certificates of affiliation upon compliance by the registering entity with the promulgated rules and regulations. Hindi po ako abogado, kaya po nung tanong ko sa mga kasamahan ko na sa PAGCOR na wala na rin sila ngayon, ang sabi na po, notably, this is a recognition on the part of the Supreme Court that the authority of PAGCOR to regulate gambling operations extend to online or offshore gaming activity. Yan po yung latest
Was that
ruling.
explicitly stated in that?
Yung pong notably, hindi po. Yung pong first two paragraphs.
So, ang sinasabi po natin, ito ay napapaloob sa isang presidential decree.
Yung pong, opo, ang pinanggalingan po nito, kasi siyempre po nung 1978, wala pa po kasing masyadong internet, di po ba?
Wala pa rin pong Pogo.
Wala pa rin pong casino noon. Wala pa pong regulation noon eh. Kasi nag-regulate lang po sa pagbabasa ko po sa history, nag-regulate lang po si President Ferdinand Marcos before dahil lang sa nag-proliferate ang mga casinos, and they thought instead of putting them down, I guess it was a very difficult task, they actually legalized it by creating PAGCOR to regulate the gaming industry. Ito kaya po yun yung offshoot. Kung pong nandun po sa records na sinabi mismo ng sponsor ng bill na kasama ang online gaming. Yung pong proponent ng amendment na hindi isama yon, isama sa exclusion, nilagay po niya yon, meron po sa record. Kaya lang, hindi po isinama doon sa after. Nung matapos na po yung RA, wala po sa exclusion.
So, dahil wala po sa RA, ibig sabihin po, hindi ho allowed.
Meron po hindi po kasama sa exclusion. Hindi po in-exclude as per the amendment of the Congressman.
Chairman, can I interject with regards to that? Actually, Chairman?
Yes.
Ganito na po, ito ngayon dalawang jurisprudence, yung citing dalawang jurisprudence. One is the latest, kamo, but I have to check it. But with regards to the 2004 Jaworski versus PAGCOR, in which the ruling of the Supreme Court favors PAGCOR. It's all about, ma'am, it's not all about, we are talking about POGO now, offshore gaming. It's all about internet gaming.
2004
Kaya
or
nga,
Steve.
so, andyan po, let me clarify lang. So you cannot invoke such jurisprudence with regards to this case because we are talking now about POGO. In that case, that was 2004, walang POGO, ang issue doon is internet gaming. And it's very clear. Kasi it was also cited by PAGCOR during the second hearing. And I refuted it. That was all about internet gaming. It's not all about POGO. Now, ako hindi pa ako conclusive. I will not also argue now with regards to Evangelista. I have to check it. No, yung exact ruling. But, ang sinasabi ko lang, yung 2004 ruling is not all about offshore gaming. It's all about internet gaming in which, sabi ko, Jaworski favors, Jaworski versus PAGCOR, Supreme Court favors the position of PAGCOR. Yan lang po, just for the record. Now, question, Evangelista, may GR number ka na siya, sinite, that was 2023, okay? I have to check it. Oh, I have to check it. Kasi malabo yung 2004, ma'am eh. Because that time, there is no such offshore gaming. Kaya hindi mo pwedeng i-invoke yung jurisprudence na yun. As I've said, and again, I reiterate, I've checked it, na hindi siya applicable in this committee investigation. But, Chairman, i-check ko muna yung question ng Evangelista.
Thank you for that, Congressman Paduano. Sige, you can proceed.
Thank you, Congressman Paduano, for putting words into my mouth. I was about to say that, but thank you anyway. Ma'am Domingo, I am also of the opinion na hindi po sakop ng binabanggit yung jurisprudence yung operations ng online offshore gaming kasi po ang charter ng PAGCOR ay napapaloob lamang kahit territorial po within the territory of the Philippines. But there could probably be some exemptions to that which I am not really aware and familiar of. However, ma'am, yung binanggit kasi kanina ni former Senate President Enrile, sinabi niya na hindi pwedeng mangyaring ganoon because nga po, territorial nga po ang charter ng PAGCOR. Even the authors and the intent of the law creating the charter of PAGCOR was likewise a territorial ang coverage po niya ay within the Philippine territory, hindi po pwede lumabas. So iwanan po natin muna yon. I'd like to ask some details about paano ho ba yung I heard earlier na sinasabi po na it was during your watch na marami pong POGO license na ipinalabas ang PAGCOR. Totoo po ba yan?
Pinakamarami pong na-approve na PAGCOR, POGO licenses during our time are 63. But any given point of time, lalo na nung height niya, nung 2018 at 2019, 50 lang po talaga ang nagpa-function.
59.
Opo. Noon pong matapos ang pandemic, nung malis ako sa pwesto, 34 po ang nag-ooperate at may 130 na service provider.
So let me just be clear. Yung iba ho yung service provider because they do not accept bets. Tama
Opo.
po ba? At iba naman ho yung POGO licensees kasi sila naman yung nag-operate ng gaming.
Opo.
Okay. Dito sa inyong pagkakalam o sa inyong panunungkulan bilang chairman ng PAGCOR, sino ho yung pinakamalaking POGO operator sa Pilipinas?
Pasensya na po kayo at hindi ko na po alam yung
During your time po, ma'am.
Hindi ko po alam yung mga ganyang detalye. Kaya
So you don't know?
Kung pwede pong i-ask ang PAGCOR kung sino po yung mga operational during those time at kung sino po ang mga may nagmamayari.
Sige po, ma'am. I-educate nyo na lang po kami o ako. Ano ho yung parameters para malaman nating maliit, medium size at malaking operation ng isang POGO? Ano po ang parameters niya?
I think one of the parameters would be revenue stream.
Okay, that's good. At least we know that based on your experience, it's the revenue stream which is the basis of the POGO corporations in paying their taxes, correct?
Opo.
So,
At saka rin po, bago po sila ma-issuehan ng, iba po kasi yung license certificate doon sa notice to commence operation. Doon po sa bago po ma-issue yung notice to commence operation, nagsasubmit din po sila nung particular na paraphernalia, particular na gaming equipment at yung mga spaces na kailangan nila para doon. So, pwede rin po parameter yun. Per square meter and the amount of equipment that they have and the amount of manpower that they have.
Ma'am, ilang years po kayo sa PAGCOR, ma'am?
6.
6 years, no? In that 6 years, you don't recall even a single company that have paid X amount of fees to PAGCOR? Just yung basis lang doon sa fees, ma'am.
Hindi ko na po marirecall yung specific payment kasi po...
Wala bang company name that probably, kumbaga sa kanta, LSS, yung lagi mo naalala? Yung last song syndrome, wala bang ganon?
I'm sorry po kasi tulad po ng sinabi ko kanina, ang PAGCOR po ay ang POGO po, maliit po na portion lang ng operation. Pero po kung tatanungin niyo ako sa mga integrated resort casinos, malalaman ko po yon. Pero kung tatanungin din po niyo ako kung sa 900 na e-bingo o e-games na pinire-regulate, hindi ko rin po alam ang mga pangalan nila.
Did you also have an experience like what the present administration of PAGCOR had? Na meron pong naglalabi, meron pong hindi nagbayad ng regulatory fees?
Pag hindi po nagbayad ng regulatory fees, sinisingil at tapos po idinideduct doon sa kanilang cash bond na 100 million pesos po yata nung time namin.
Meron pong nangyaring ganyan?
Meron pong nangyayaring ganyan.
May we know anong company po yan, ma'am?
Nandun po sa audit report, hindi ko na
so
po...
you don't recall?
Hindi
You don't
na po
remember?
Opo.
I understand. Kasi medyo may katagalan.
At saka
I'm just asking these questions, ma'am. Just like Senator Enrile, who's got sobrang photographic yung kanyang memory. Baka ganun din po kayo, ma'am.
Yes.
So, another question, ma'am. So, doon ho ba sa licensing, pagka kayo po, ang PAGCOR po ay nakapag-issue na ng license sa isang POGO, meron pa ho ba kayong monitoring na ginagawa?
Yun po ang papaliwanag ko kung pwede po.
Yes, ma'am, please.
2-stage po para ma-complete yung process ng pag-issue ng tamang dokumento para makapag-operate ang POGO. Yung first stage po, na nag-i-issue po ng license certificate, ito po ay nangangailangan ng submission of documents like corporate documents, letter of no objection from the LGU, BIR registration, and proof of payment of all fees. Pag po maayos na to, ini-issue po yung license certificate pero hindi pa po nai-issue yung notice to commence operations. Kaya po nag-i-issue based on documents ng license to operate kasi po hindi sila makakakuha ng mayor's permit, hindi po sila makakapamili ng equipment at gaming equipment and paraphernalia at kadalasan po ayaw ng landlord nila na space na nire-rent at i-adjust sa kanilang kailangan kung wala pong license. So po, pag nag-meet na po nila ito at magkakaroon na po ng probity check at actual physical inspection mula po sa PAGCOR at saka pa lamang po mabibigay yung notice to commence operations. Yung pong from the license to the notice to commence operations, nung during normal times na wala pong pandemic, 6 months po ang binibigay or administrative fees. Kasi po, na 6 months, kaya na po nilang i-import at i-retrofit at makakuha ng iba pang permits na kailangan. Kaya naman po nagcha-charge after 6 months during normal times kasi po, pag nag-project po kami ng revenues, yung mga na-approve na ng mga POGOs, kailangan po makakuha na rin ng revenues doon dahil kung hindi, magpo-fall short po yung aming mga projections. which is required by other government agencies. At saka po, ayaw po sana, yun po, iniiwasan na kukuha lang ng lisensya na parang provisional license lang, tapos ipasa sa iba at iba na lang ang sasalo. Di ko po sinasabi pinagbibili, pero ayaw po sana namin mangyari nun. During the pandemic po, na-extend po yan ng hanggang 2022 kasi nga po, nagsara naman lahat ng karamihan ng ka-deal nila kunwari sa mga permits, mga purchases and all of that. Kaya po, nagkakaroon na ng income ang PAGCOR sa regulatory fees at admin fees na $150,000 per month kahit wala pong operations.
Sige po, ma'am. Thank you po dyan sa information na yan. We already got the substantial information regarding that. Pero natanong ko kasi, the reason why I asked that, are we monitoring after a license is issued?
Yes po, kaya meron po kaming CMED.
Okay. Kasi nga ho, it seems that from...
Sir, ano po, after the notice to commence operations po.
Okay. Kaya ho, kasi natanong ko ito, mukhang walang nakamonitor na mayroon pong mga POGO na nagiging scam hubs. May mga POGO licenses na nagbebenta, nagkakaroon ng sublay as shared by the present PAGCOR administration. Kasi saan nang galing yung sinabi na ni Chairman Altenco na merong 402 POGO operators, both legal and illegal. Is that correct, Attorney?
Those are, sir, the illegal na.
O yung illegal, saan nang galing po yun, di ba?
Ang pagkakaalam ko po, ang PAGCOR may jurisdiction sa legal. Yun pong illegal ay talaga pong trabaho na po ng law enforcement yun.
So, yun nga po, ma'am, no? Na-issue nyo yung license. Kunyari, sa isang POGO company, no? Na-issue. Then, you monitored. Sabi nyo nga, kailangan yung license to commence. That's the correct term,
commence
no?
operations.
Notice to commence operations. Pagkatapos nun, namomonitor nyo pa?
Namomonitor po. Yun nga po ang trabaho ng CMED.
Okay.
Yung Compliance, Monitoring, and Enforcement Department.
Okay. So, very active po siguro itong department na ito.
Dapat po.
Napakarami yung krimen na nag-uugat mula sa isang POGO operation. Hindi po nakita ng CMED yun.
Ito pong mga na-raid na, ito pong, tulad po nitong Lucky 99, yan po ay illegal po yan. Kasi nga po, kahit ho sa record ng PAGCOR, hanggang ngayon po, wala naman pong operations yun eh. Kaya yung nakukubra doon ay mga regulatory fees. Yung pong isa, hindi ko na po alam kasi itong isang nahuli, yung Suanyo, So, new one, kasi hindi na po nangyari sa aking term. Last day of reporting ko po, June 30, 2022.
Okay, sige po. Salamat po, ma'am. If I may ask, Paok, do I still have time, Mr. Chair?
You have all the time in the world, my friend.
Thank you. Salamat. Yusek Cruz.
Yes, sir.
Yung bang raid nyo sa POGO ay meron kayong search warrant?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pwede po bang malaman anong korte ang nag-issue ng warrant?
Meron pong Bulacan, then meron kaming Angeles, and then meron pong Pampanga.
Okay. Bakit po sa Bulacan kayo kumuha?
Minsan po, sir, yung familiar po kami dun sa judge and medyo may konting doubt lang kami minsan kasi, sir. But not really talaga nagdududa kami dun sa local. But pag may ganong pakiramdam kami, sir, we try to look for another court, sir, just to make sure na hindi magli-leak yung information.
Are you not aware, Yusek, na there could be a bigger question kapag kumuha kayo sa ibang jurisdiction na hindi sakop ng jurisdiction?
It's a normal practice even during our time, sir, nung nasa serbisyo pa po ako.
Okay.
Na we get search warrant from other courts.
So sabi mo kanina, Yusek, kasi nagdududa, no? May pagdududa minsan dun sa maring mag-issue ng warrant, no? Experience ka bang ganun? Ang PAOK ba nagkaroon ng ganyang experience?
If we talk of the experiences we got, sir, dito lang sa stay ko, sir, sa PAOK. There were instances, we're even with the PAGCOR group, sir, many raid kami, and then sinalubong na kaagad kami ng 4 na abogado, And then in Porac, sir, we applied for a search warrant, and then the warrant was recalled, and then the next day it was denied. So we need to apply we need to go to another court. Ayun nga, sir, sa ibang court para makapag-apply kami uli, sir. So imagine, sir, nag-apply ka sa isang court, and then the same court who gave you the search warrant, siya na rin, sir, yung nag-deny ng warrant. So
anong court yan na Gilbert? Yusek Gilbert, anong court?
Yes, sir. That's Malolos, RTC.
Sinong judge?
Rama. I think it's Judge Rama.
Judge?
Rama.
Rama?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Congressman Barbers.
Thank you. So, because of your experience, you thought it wise to secure a warrant from another jurisdiction. Tama po ba yung aking assessment?
Yes, Your Honor.
And in spite of the fact that you know na merong maring i-question dyan.
Yes, sir. Kasi during that time, it's a matter of life and death, Your Honor. Every time we do raids, it is because someone is being tortured or someone is being held against their will. And in this case, sir, when we applied for a warrant dito, sir, sa Banban, sa Porac, sir, yung Vietnamese...
Mag-subscribe at i-click ang notification bell para sa mga susunod na video updates. Maraming salamat po.